Yeah. Yes.
Yes. Are you sure? You sounded like confused.
Well, no. The thing is that for some reason my right headphone isn't headphoning.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Um,
Uh,
hang on.
okay. I'm going.
Let me leave the studio. Hang on one second. Let me try
Okay.
to fix
Okay.
that. That's annoying. Hang on one
Yep.
second. Okay. Hello.
Hello. Any better?
Okay. Yeah, now it's working. Okay.
Yay! Exciting. Exciting. Shall we jump in?
Yes.
Okay. Here we go. Welcome to Curmudgeon's Corner for Saturday, October 4th, 2025. It's just a couple minutes before 14:30 UTC as we're starting to record. I'm Sam Minter. Yvonne Bowe is here. Hello, Yvonne.
Hi.
You sound enthused as usual.
Well, no, I am worse. Uh, and I'll explain why. Well, I'm not. I need surgery.
Yes.
And this week the pain that I've been experiencing has gotten markedly
Bad.
worse.
That's not good.
Um, no, it's not good. I probably did it to myself. Look, well, in order to find a doctor who could figure out very quickly what the hell my problem was, because I got a little bit frustrated with the doctors I've been seeing here. Well, my brother, my sister in law is a doctor, and her office is right by another doctor's office who pretty much was the right person to see for what my problem was. And so last Friday, I called my brother who works at the same hospital. He's a pharmacist, not a doctor, but he knows his stuff as well. I said, I got this going on. What do I do? And he said, hang on. And because he aside from being a pharmacist, his most of his time is spent managing the office at my sister in law's doctor's office, and anybody who's been a doctor now with all the paperwork and insurance and shit and whatever knows that goes on. You need somebody that can do that, and so he's the guy that does that for their practice. So he walked over there and called me back. Well, they can see you on Monday.
Right.
And I'm like, okay. But okay, this is in Texas, so I had to fly to Texas on Sunday to go get looked at, and the doctor, after doing the physical examination, was able to figure out that yeah, you don't have a muscle strain, you don't have diverticulitis, what you have is a hernia. I'm now realizing that this had been there for a while. I had some minor discomfort in the past that I had put off as soreness.
You'd blown it off.
Well, I put it no. I thought I was just sore.
Right.
I thought it was just something temporary. I work out a lot, and so I just thought, no, muscles get sore, and you get some pain. That must be just it. And it went, and it came and it went away. So it didn't stay there permanently. But since July, it started permanently. Okay, it didn't go. That's how I wound up to the doctor, because I started getting pain, and it started not going away.
Hmm.
Um, but look, I had to fly to Texas and back for that. I went on Sunday. I came back Monday night. And my brother doesn't live in Dallas or Houston where there's a direct flight. I had to fly to. I had to change planes to get to where they live. So it was basically 6 hours going there, 6 hours going back. I mean, I got home on Monday like at 2 in the morning, 2:30 in the morning. And then, but okay, I also had to go to Guyana. Now, look, I have to say, I always looked at the map and I thought Guyana was closer because I knew it was right by Venezuela. And I've been to Caracas before, and it's like it's less than 3 hours. Well, no, Guyana is really much further out. Another thing is, I mistakenly thought it was on the Caribbean Sea. It is past Trinidad. It is on the Atlantic coast.
Mm-hmm.
So it is that much further out. It's closer to 5 hours to get there. Okay?
Yes.
And I had to go on a Wednesday night, 5 hours there, and then came back yesterday, 5 hours back. While I was there, the pain started getting worse because I spent 10 hours on a fucking airplane round trip. Plus, let me just say this. Look, Guyana right now is experiencing a huge growth spurt.
Okay.
Guyana for many, many decades was even poorer than Haiti. Okay? In the Americas. It was the poorest country in the Americas for an extended period of time. But the Venezuela's stupidity has been Guyana's gain, because what happened is, as Venezuela destroyed their oil production and economy, some guys at ExxonMobil figured out, you know what? They're bordering Venezuela, right? There's gotta be oil there. And lo and behold, in 2015, they found it. And they found a huge amount of it. And so their economy right now is booming. Listen, I started doing my research as I go over there and I'm meeting with a customer. Do you realize that right now Guyana has almost like the highest GDP per person in the Americas right now?
I had no such realization.
Exact. No, neither did I. It's like shit like that all of a sudden I realized, holy shit. I mean, they are basically, money is flooding in there, and the economy is the fastest growing right now in the Americas. Like literally, like it's been growing in recent years. Of course, it started from such a low base that so makes it happen, but it's been growing like 50% a year. Shit, crazy numbers like this. Okay. And so, but,
yes.
Look, listen, being that they were the poorest state, their infrastructure is still, that of the shows that they are still, one of the poorest. The airport is right now. It takes an hour to go from the international airport to downtown to the city. Okay, it's an hour drive.
Okay.
The road is about the worst road that I've had to traverse over a long distance. I'm not saying it is the worst, but it matches the worst. Well, after you've been on a 5-hour ride, you got to take a 1-hour ride in a very bumpy road in a car that is more made to be resistant to the getting damaged rather than for passenger comfort, back and forth. That didn't help
In a body that's
either.
already sore.
In a body that's already having problems, that was not helpful. Okay.
Right.
I will say this one thing: the people in Guyana, everybody that I met with, was incredibly pleasant and lovely. And
Okay,
I will
good.
take any of them over most of the MAGA idiots that we have here. I will ship them. I don't know. I will make. Oh, listen, I will quickly trade for them in a heartbeat.
Right.
Okay. No questions asked. Um, you know, by the way, one also interesting tidbit. They are fanatics for KFC. Listen,
For KFC.
KFC. Okay. Look, Sam, I'm talking insanity fanatics. I went and I drove through past a couple of KFCs and they had drive-throughs.
So
Listen, the country. No, I did not. No, I passed by the drive. No. I just saw the drive-throughs. Look, I wasn't there long enough. I mean, I think I only went
because I was going to ask for the comparison between their KFC.
Okay, what they told me. Here's what they told me. The guy told me that. Now, remember another interesting tidbit about Guyana. Things that I found. But look, I hadn't visited the country before, so I started reading up. I wanted to know about the culture, economy. I don't like going to a place without.
You don't want to go in cold.
No. I want to find out everything I can about what's happened and so forth and so on. And I hadn't really dug into it a lot. Largest population is of Indian descent. Mm-hmm. Okay, all right. The second is African slaves.
Just to be clear, indigenous Americans, not like
India. No, India.
Oh, India. Okay,
from India.
Largest population overall.
Yes.
Like greater than
from yes than everything else. Yes.
Wow.
Even in Africa. Okay, and I'll explain why. Okay, this is what happened. Okay. So it's people from India, okay, that moved there, okay. Africa, descendants of African slaves, and the last one are the indigenous. Okay, that's the smallest set. Okay, so what happened is that when
I'm confirming this, and absolutely, it's like 40% Indian.
Yes.
29% African, 20% mixed, 11% indigenous, and then trivial portions of European and Chinese.
Yes, and so here's how this happened. Okay, first, there's gold and other valuable things in Guyana. Okay, it was a British colony. They abolished slavery, right? So what did the British at the time decide to solve? How did they decide to solve the problem? Indentured servitude. Okay, they brought in Indians that they put on indentured servitude contracts that wanted to get out of India, put them on a contract, shipped them to Guyana, and that's how they were replacing the slave labor.
Okay, then.
And that's how and by the way, that is why I had been to a few ex-British colonies like Jamaica. I can't remember which other island I went to. I think it was maybe in the Caymans. I experienced this, where I met a lot of people Indian descent, and I was like, why the Indians? And this is the reason the British in the 1800s decided to, when they abolished slavery, that they replaced it with indentured servitude. And brought many Indians because India was a colony and many wanted to leave.
Of course, yeah.
And they was like, because the indentured servitude, the one thing about it is they were like, hey, it ends. Because the contracts had a fixed definition of time. It wasn't like forever.
It wasn't like slavery, where your kids are going to get sold as well.
Yeah. No, it was a period of time, and then after the period of time, and then whatever. And so a lot of them took the deal.
Just to be clear, generally speaking, those contracts were set up in such a way that they kind of trapped you anyway.
Oh yeah, they tried to Yes. It was
it was very hard to actually get out of those under theoretical terms.
Because they would add debt to it, and then you owed more, and so then it would pile on, so it would add more time. Yeah. But in the the vision was like, hey, the contract ended, and And in many cases, even though they trapped them, eventually they ended, and it didn't carry on to the next generation and so forth. So therefore, but so that's how. So that was the. So that's the thing, which is why also it's like number one sport is cricket.
Okay.
Um,
Yep.
it's also another thing. But you know, but like so the guy that I was speaking to who took me around, who's also of Indian descent, explained to me that the thing about the KFC, well, he believes that basically they take whatever the herbs and spices they send, and they basically double them up. So
Okay. Yeah.
that's the yeah. So that's the flavor. That's the KFC local. Basically, it is the same, except if you remember herbs and spices, it's doubled up on herbs and spices. Okay,
Okay.
and the drive through the car lines. There were like 15, 20 cars long. 25. It was they would wrap around the block. Okay, it was worse than any lines that I've seen at Chick-fil-A, which I don't see them like having those lines anymore. I
Mm.
realize they're not as but yeah, it was like kind of like that. It was crazy. So I saw that. So that was like the one thing that that stood out
Now you got
about
me
it.
wanting some KFC.
I know KFC is good, but like I said, we both said, yeah, but I'm like, I haven't eaten it in a while because I'm like, we're trying to, it's just, but I mean, I like it. So anyway, it was just quite interesting, but it's also, I mean, you can see obviously how I mean, uh, the poverty it's starting to like be covered up to some way, but man, I mean, you could see
But it's still there.
yeah,
Because generally speaking, when you have sort of the kind of rapid growth you're talking about, it is not evenly distributed.
it isn't, but it is being distributed. I will say that you can tell that's why so many people are like, one thing they were talking about was that right now, a country that had very few cars, that right now they're basically registering about 3,000 new cars a month. And this
Hmm.
is so even they're extremely taxed as well. And they are building a new highway to the airport. Okay. All right. That is not finished yet. They did build this new airport, which is it's got to be one of the smallest airports I've been to outside of being in a one of these Caribbean island airports. Okay,
Hmm.
it is one of the smallest
Small,
international airports
right?
that I've ever been to. It's pretty new and shiny. It's a little bit of a wonky design, but hey, it's nice and clean. It's got food. It's got gates. It's air conditioned. It's I mean, it looks decent. The design is a little bit weird because the gates don't actually have the waiting areas there. There is like this general and actually the signage. If they put now that I know the drill, I know how
Yes.
to maneuver it. But they didn't have signs there that explain this. There's this general waiting area that is on the first floor, and then when your flight gets called, you go up to a second level and you walk over to the gate, and then you go in. But there isn't a
Mm.
waiting area at the gate itself.
Ah, right. Okay.
So so that was a little bit like confusing at first because they need to the only thing the only thing that was missing was really the signage to make it clear. But it was all it was nice, clean. Good, the security was better than a lot of other airports I've seen. I'll tell you what, they had a
Hmm.
good equipment and things and stuff and whatever. And the hotel was new and shiny. Another very interesting thing. They asked me, "What about the beaches?" And I'm like, "Well, no beaches."
Okay.
And 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 the reason is it's not at first I thought I looked at the water and I'm like, is that mud or is it pollution? And I'm like, I've been to places that have rivers and waters that are very polluted, and it's a lot of times very obvious from the smell. You know,
Mm.
it's just
Yeah.
like in Brazil specifically. I remember that you'd get to these polluted waterways, and the stench from the water was just God, just awful. Um, That's the one that I remember most specifically. But that's not it at all. It's not pollution either. What happens is that they get runoff from major rivers going there, including the Amazon.
Hmm.
And that runoff actually is carrying quite a lot of mud, like a lot of mud. Like it's just, but a lot of mud because these are very powerful rivers that are sending there. So all the water, like literally, when you go and look at it, looks like mud. And if you went,
Okay.
and it is the muddiest coast in the world. Is that I figured because I looked at it and I'm like, is that mud? And so I had to look at that. Looks like mud. That was my thought, and I looked it up. That Guyana has the muddiest water coast anywhere. Basically, if you went into the water, like, yo, let me go to the beach, let me take a dip, you'd come out and you're like basically caked in mud. Not exactly really the best beach going experience, I would
At
think.
least a different experience.
It would be quite a different one. It's not like you're going to come out polluted. It's just you're going to be covered in mud. I mean, I know some people that like being covered in mud. I've seen this. Okay, but mud fights or whatever. I'm not one that likes to go get covered in mud.
Yeah, no, never appealed to me either. I just
Yeah,
no.
I saw these people like at camp, like go and to get into mud fights and in the mud. And I'm like, no, thank you. I'm
Yeah,
good.
no, no.
I'm out. Thank you.
Okay, so
So anyway, and so yes, all of this travel and getting to know. I look. I will say, quite a cool experience. Okay, all right. I don't know. I didn't look into. Is there any way to like get some proper tourism, like to get to
mm,
know like the country? I didn't go. I didn't get time to research to go into research it. But what I will say is that, despite the fact that poor whatever, there's not a lot of hotels. I mean, the hotel that I stayed at was a nice hotel, but it's not like a 5-star hotel. But the rate was for a 5-star hotel. It was like $500 a night.
mhm.
And I was like, Jesus, okay. So, but man, the people are so lovely. I really had a great time. That really was, that was the positive of my experience. It's like it's just quite a lovely group of people. I really liked, you know,
Okay.
being there. So,
Now, before I do my butt first segment, and once again, I've forgotten the agenda at the beginning of the show. We're doing our butt first, where we sort of talk about personal stuff, movies, whatever, and then we'll get into the news in the next segment.
oh, I am scheduled for surgery on November 5th.
That's what I was going to ask: is what's your date? So you got a while yet? That's like a month away,
I have a while.
and
Uh,
it's getting worse. So that's not a good combination.
well, the one thing is, I think I made it worse this week. I'm going to rest.
That seems like a good idea.
Um, I'm going to give it I'm going to rest. Um, I will say that it's another good thing is that I got a new chair for my office.
Hmm.
And I will say that I've noticed that sitting
You're very happy with the new
in the
chair.
Aeron chair makes a
Hmm.
big difference. Where when I'm sitting here, I'm actually not experiencing pain at all.
Okay.
So that's a big plus. Uh, Apparently about getting the new chair. So probably being at home and not sitting on some random thing and sitting on an airplane for 10 hours. I literally sat over 20 hours on a plane this week. Probably not the best, smartest thing
Probably
to
not,
have
but
done.
you have.
I had now many other choices. Look, I planned this meeting with these guys. I'd been working on this. It had been for months. It was months and months. I started talking to this customer in started talking directly to them. I'd been trading messages and whatever, but really, really nitty gritty in March. Okay. And we had set up for our first in person meeting now and very close to getting, this deal completed. And I met with it was with their CIO and their CEO. And I'm like, I can't blow this damn meeting off
Right.
after it's been set up for so long. I gotta suck it up and do this. So I did, and it was. I know that I've paid, but I'm like, it was worth it in the sense of it was a great meeting with them. It was nice to uh, to see the country. You know, the only thing we ever hear about Guyana is like Jim Jones. I mean, basically, I mean, if you ask
Right.
anybody if
Yeah, I
they
made a
know anything
Kool-Aid
about the
joke
country,
as soon as I made a
I
Kool-Aid
mean,
joke
that's
as
it.
soon as Yvonne mentioned
Exactly.
it.
It's
Yeah.
the only. It's the only. I mean, the first you say that name, and that's the first thing that comes to anybody's mind. And I'm really glad to be able now to not have that as my first thought when we talk about the country of Guyana, I'm very happy about that.
Okay. Um, so I'll do my stuff real quick. First of all, I am going to do movies, and I'm not going to let this be the whole thing, but I'm also traveling. Anybody who's watching our video live stream will notice I have a different background. I
Your
had a
background looks very, 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 very different.
yeah.
Definitely doesn't look like your house.
I'm at an Airbnb in Toronto. I'm visiting my sister. I have a nephew who is now 6 months old that I'm visiting for the first time. That's very nice. Get to hold the baby and like play with it a little. It's old enough so it like is a it's interactive a little bit. It's not just sleeping all the time and crying. It does a little bit of stuff, but it's not yet a toddler, so we're still in that middle zone. But
Oh, but you
no,
can hold it. You can hold the baby.
you can hold the baby. You can
Baby.
sort of bounce it. You can like
Yeah, 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 yeah.
it's like looking at
Oh,
you. It's old
yeah,
enough
yeah,
that
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like laughing and stuff.
Yes, yes. It's a great
Uh,
time. Yes, I
so
love it.
having a lot of fun, also getting to chat with my sister and have a couple conversations with her husband for really the first time. I met him like for 5 minutes at the wedding, but otherwise have not had a time to like sit down and really chat with him or anything. So I've done that a little bit. So it's a lot of fun. And I was traveling. I was a little bit you know, I don't travel that often, and we also had this government shutdown going on. So I was worried, like, am I going to have like massive TSA delays? Am I going to have issues with customs, whatever? Um, and I'll just say that there was a delay. The plane itself was delayed more than 4 hours, but it was a
What
mechanical
airline did
issue.
you fly?
Uh,
Alaska, Air
this
Canada?
this way was Air Canada. I'm
Okay,
going back on Alaska, but
okay.
there was a mechanical issue. The plane that was it was a plane that was coming. It was just going back and forth between Toronto and Seattle, right? So it hadn't left Toronto yet because there was some sort of mechanical issue. Turns out they switched out the plane because they'd already like boarded people onto the plane and they were taxiing and they had to bring them back to the gate and pull them all off and
That's always
find
fun.
another plane and all that kind of stuff. And so it was like 4 hours late for that. But like, you know, going through security in Seattle was incredibly quick. It was just minutes. Like I got through the whole thing. Like, we have that clear thing, but I was like, I didn't even bother to try to figure it out because the line was going so fast and everything. And I haven't been through U.S. customs heading back yet. That'll be when I head back, and they're the ones who are being assholes right now. But like,
Well, make sure that you, and this is advice for anybody, that if you don't have global entry, okay, there's the mobile passport control app, okay. That what you do is once you land, it lets you like do the punch in the information, so that way they can scan with the code. It expedites that process.
okay, so like U.S. has one of those too. I did one of those for
Yes.
Canada, but
Yeah.
like
U.S. has one. Yes.
but all I was gonna say is like Canadian customs took like 10 seconds.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I did that little app, and then you had to go to a kiosk and confirm that what you'd done on the app was correct, and I was like yes. And I suppose if you hadn't done it on the app, you could do the whole thing at the kiosk. But like I'd done it on the app, so and then like you know you go up to the little guy, and the last time I went to Canada, when I went up to the little guy, they asked me some questions. Not a lot of questions, but they asked me like 30 seconds worth of why are you here? What are you about? This time it was like, okay, good, have a nice time. No questions at all. Just waved me through.
Well, I will say, like, I have global entry, so right now, basically, the process is I walk up to a kiosk, it scans my face. I don't even pull out my passport, and then I walk past the person who confirms that they
Yeah.
have a picture of me and they call my name, and I go. So that's pretty much it. That's all it involves. Not even filling out a form. Going to Guyana, I so usually when I go to a country that I haven't been to, I try to look up whether there's uh, anything to fill out for entry. Okay, for some reason on the American Airlines app, it didn't show that there was a entry form. In some countries I've been to, either you get a paper form when you get there, or something. Most of them have them electronic, like right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I tried to look up, hey, is there any form to fill out? It didn't say anything on the app. When I get there, I go and they have these automated kiosks that are now. Dominican Republic has these for departure control, where you put your passport, it scans it, and what it does, it looks up to see if you filled out your form,
Yeah. Yeah.
confirms, and whatever.
So
Well, if it
I didn't want to get into all this detail. My only point on
no,
this
no,
before jumping into
but here's the
movies.
thing: what happened when
Yes,
I
yes,
got
yes.
there?
Okay, yes.
I look. It didn't say anything about any form, and I've been to countries where right now they're not requiring forms. I wound up getting over there, put my passport on the thing. It's rejecting me. Well, you got to fill out the form. I'm like, oh fuck, I have no form. So I had to go try to fill it out. And by the way, the captcha on this form, I don't know what the hell. The worst captcha in history. I literally had to type it. I think for entry and exit, I kept typing it like I did it more than 10 times. It kept regretting my captcha. Do you realize how annoying? And all the capital letter or small letter. I hate these things.
Okay, fine. Can I move on now?
You can move on.
My entire point was just like I was worried because of the governmental shutdown there would be delays. There were none for me.
No.
There were none. Everything was smooth and rapid, and aside from the mechanical delay on the plane, which cost me 4 hours, but luckily I got the notification of that before I left home.
Mm, mm, mm.
So like I wasn't stuck at the
Yeah, you
airport
weren't stuck at
that
the
whole
airport.
time.
That's good. Yeah, that's
You
all.
know,
That's always good. You
you
know,
know.
when I get the notification that my flight's been canceled and I haven't made it to the airport, I'm like, oh, good.
Yeah,
You
I
know.
mean, and like and honestly, I needed the extra time to get ready. Like I was hurrying to try to rush and get out the door. I got the notification that first it was delayed 1 hour, and then later they delayed it another 3 hours. And so as soon as I got it's delayed 1 hour, I went from like rushing to get everything ready to I'm going to take my time. I'm just going to relax. I'll do this slowly. I'm not going to worry about it. And then, anyway, so I ended up getting to the airport minutes before my original flight would have left.
Okay.
So now, but my behavior had changed. Like
Well,
if my
yeah,
flight was still,
you weren't stressed out in a rush.
yeah, like if it was leaving at the time it was supposed to leave, I would have gotten out the door a lot quicker. I just took my time. Anyway, I no more travel adventures. We've had enough travel adventures. So, and I could go blow by blow with more travel stuff, including some interesting stories. But I will skip that because instead, it's been a couple weeks since I did movies, so I'm going to do at least one. At least one, damn it.
All right, we need to do a movie. Okay.
Okay. The movie Dark Days from the year 2000. This is not one that anybody is likely to have really heard of, probably.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'm like, what the hell? I don't know what the hell this is. Okay, I'm looking it up now.
Because it is a documentary. That documentaries are often big box office blockbusters, right?
Yes,
Like
yes, the
people are
biggest.
just
I mean,
running to them.
number one movie, number one movies of all time. I think top five, like grossing, is all documentaries.
Yes, exactly. So, no, this was a small little movie. It was about homeless people in Manhattan. And so specifically, it was it was released in 2000, but it was shot in the mid 1990s. Um, it was a lot of the people who sort of specifically it was focusing on people who were living in old Amtrak tunnels that were not um, it, some of them were not in active use. Others, the tunnel's in use, but there's places off to the side where there's room. It's not like uh, every single space is taken up by the train. And so it follows basically a community of homeless people there, and sort of they built themselves like make to shelters and little houses like within the tunnels where they lived. There were people who there were some that lived by themselves in their little things. There were people who lived as roommates. They had populated their little shelters with furniture and appliances and things that they'd like scavenged from elsewhere. And it follows their story up through the point where Amtrak basically kicks them all out because they're going to start using the tunnel again or whatever. And and obviously these people have various levels of issues. There's drug addiction issues, there are mental health issues, there are other things going on. Some of them are more sympathetic than others, but you get to know them as like look, these are human beings. They're down on their luck for various reasons. They've got various issues they're working through. But they have lives. They talk about their families a little bit. They talk about how they got down there. Some of them talk about how, yes, they had opportunities to go elsewhere, but they chose to be there, and here's why. And and you feel for these people when their living space gets destroyed and things like that. So it's I'll give it a thumbs up. I mean, obviously, this is not your sort of
It's not a
let.
comedy.
It is not a
It's not.
comedy.
Oh my god! You gotta be kidding me. So you weren't laughing your ass off through this entire movie?
I
No.
wasn't laughing my ass
So
off.
you, so you're not like so you're not like some MAGA head that would have been just watching this and watching these people suffer and going, look at those losers. No,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and look, it's also not, you know,
Sam.
it,
The problem is
yes,
they don't have bootstraps. Sam.
yeah, they're not picking themselves up by their bootstraps.
They don't have boot. Man, it's this whole thing where we've moved away from boots, and so
Yeah,
people don't have bootstraps anymore. Sam, I'm telling you.
it's right. You just can't do the same thing with sneakers.
No, no, no,
No,
no.
but I was going to say it's also not the type, like there's some documentaries that are narrator heavy, where the narrator talks you through the story. Um, I if there was a narrator here, I barely even remember them. It was basically there. I think there was an interviewer, but even the interviewer, you didn't hear very much. You basically heard these people speaking in their own voices about their own lives, and so it was powerful in that way. It apparently did win a few awards. Won a Sundance Award for cinematography, documentary, etc. Won South by Southwest Film Award as well. A few others. Anyway, thumbs up. I liked it. If you're in the mood for a more serious documentary, I mean, it was 1990s that it was filmed, so this isn't current per se. I mean, it's a long time ago now, right? But it was still good, and I think most of the problems that they're highlighting probably have not changed all that much, in the subsequent 20 years.
Hell,
The,
some right now, especially under this administration, has gotten worse.
yeah, I mean, these are not problems
I
we
mean,
have solved.
no, no, we got we have so many places right now, especially I mean, even in democratic states, we're trying to make homelessness like illegal.
Well, I mean, this is one of the fundamental problems is that in a lot of policy making to deal with homelessness, they're not really dealing with homelessness. They're trying to make it so that quote unquote regular people don't see it.
Yeah,
They want to make it less visible. They don't want to actually solve the problem.
yeah.
Because so the policies are dealing with like, oh, let's go every few weeks, let's clean up the homeless encampments or whatever.
And not actually addressing, hey, guys, why are you homeless? How can we help you to try to get you out of homelessness? Okay? And look, in some cases, by the way, it's not like there are many cases where you could provide help, but also, by the way, there's a lot of people that are actually voluntarily homeless as well. They're trying to live off the grid. They don't want to be.
Although very often that is tied with mental illness as well. So they're
Yes, but
not
yeah,
always,
but
not always,
yeah,
but
but the
yes.
thing is, it is, but the problem is again, it used to be in the old days. What did we do with people that we
Lock
considered
them up.
mentally ill? Exactly, and so that it's one of those things where if
There's a fundamental thing that back
it gets
going,
very
going back to the 80s. I think it was during the Reagan administration where they sort of decided, we're going to move away from this institutionalization
institutionalization,
approach, and we're going to let people out. But the problem is they didn't replace it with anything to
right?
like actually help these people.
Right.
So, and I generally like there's a place for inpatient care for the mentally ill, but if you're not but it was overused. It was massively.
No, and in many cases it was involuntary, which is also the problem because it gets into
the way that institutionalization worked. There were many people locked up that shouldn't have been, that could have been living good lives on the outside with the proper care.
right.
And the problem is that didn't exist. And, like you said, that it was sort of hide people away as well. You didn't want them visible. But then when they moved away from that, there was nothing there to replace it. There was nothing there to serve those people. And so you ended up with lots of people on the street, and you add economic stress, you add drug issues, you add all this. But yeah, yes, it seems trivially like duh that for all of these sorts of problems, the real way to deal with them is to find the root causes and deal with the root causes, not to try to deal with the symptoms. But a significant portion of our political world just doesn't like the idea of preventative stuff, of dealing with root causes, we don't want to give people help that don't deserve it, all this kind of stuff. Whereas in a number of places, like compared to other countries, compared to places where there have been limited scale testing, the best solution to homelessness is give people homes.
Get out of town. No. Wait, nah, come on. That can't be right.
And you start with that, with no conditions, and then you deal with like, oh, let's help their drug issues. Let's help their mental health.
Wait.
But in the meantime, you give them some place to live.
Wait, really?
And not just like some packed shelter with like 1 million people, but you give them private place they
Wait,
have.
you give them you give the homeless a place to live? What kind of fucking psychopathic communist are you? You bastard.
But the thing
we're gonna have to send you to one of these new like MAGA re-education camps to correct this kind of issue.
With all of this, it's also, you can't just give them a place to stay either. You have to also back it up with the other supports that they need to in order to make that successful. And then yes, there are underlying problems with the cost of
healthcare.
Healthcare.
Yeah. Sam, healthcare. What the fuck are you talking about? That's also, that's only for the rich, Sam. What the hell are you talking about, man? Listen, The Republic, listen, the GOP policy right now is that if you show up to an ER and you're dying, and if you can't prove that you're a citizen, we
Fuck
take
them.
you out,
Let
we,
you
we
die.
fuck them, we let you die. Well, actually, as a matter of fact, we don't want other people to see you. We'll roll you out to the dumpster and we'll just put you right in there for you to die, and that's it. That way, the other people don't get to see your carcass.
Yes, because we can't leave that out. Yeah.
No. Can't bother the other people.
But yeah, I don't know. And the thing is, like, I promise I'll move on shortly. But people, even the people who are like, I don't want to spend all this money dealing with like cleaning up the homeless camps and all this stuff. If you do the math, or they say, I don't want to give them a house. That's expensive. It's less expensive than what we're doing now.
Right.
Like the preventative stuff costs less than dealing with the problem after it exists. Even if it seems like, oh, you're giving them a free house, why don't I get a free house? Whatever. It's like, and
universal basic stuff is, so many people are so against it, and it's like one of the things is like most of the universal basic stuff. Puerto Rico, there's a lot of public housing, and a lot of people do live in public housing. Okay. Puerto Rico has a lot of people that are in the lower end of the income spectrum. That's just that's just a reality. But well, why do they get a free house? Look, the free houses are not bad. Okay, they're decent. Okay, but the reality is that if you can actually afford a house, you probably want to buy something else that isn't really the public house. But at the same time, you want to give those people at a basic house something that is decent, clean, good, safe. Right. Okay, it's not it's not a tent full of holes. You want to you want to give them something that's basic but good. And these people complaining about, well, why don't I get a free house? Well, honestly, if you're making more money, you probably don't want the basic house. Okay, and I'm like, why the hell is it so bad that in a nation and so much of the world that is so rich, it's such a fucking problem to give those in the lower part of the income spectrum the basics to live, instead of then going and complaining, oh my God, look at those homeless people over there, they're driving me crazy. And I'm like, well, listen, you want to complain about them, but then at the same time, you don't want them to get the basic shit. Decide what the fuck you want, asshole.
Yeah, anyway, I mean, let's be clear. It's a hard problem. It's not like there's a magic.
It is a very hard problem. But just making it a criminal and illegal isn't the fucking solution.
Right. Okay. Normally I try to do 2 movies, but I talked about the other thing. So I'm back to never catching up unless I do 2 movies a week. But
we'll get back to next week. We will get back to two. Well, even as a matter of fact, I'll even let you next week. We'll go to 3.
Ooh, 3. Oh, yeah, amazing. When one of these days when you're out, maybe I'll just do an all movies episode.
Do the all movie review. Well, I will listen. Here's the thing.
But the problem is, I like bouncing them off you because you have an opinion on them too. Me just saying thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs sideways. I mean, I could go through the whole damn list in 10 minutes.
Well, you could bring back I may be too sick to do one soon. Okay, kind of not sick, but convalescing. You can bring back ChatGPT Ivan to see what he thinks about the movies. The most agreeable idiot in history. Let him come in and just nicely agree to everything.
Yeah, no, we'll get to working on that. No, if I do 3 next week, the 3 will be Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse from 2023, The Bridge on the River Kwai from 1957, and Hairspray from 1988. So
okay,
that would be the. But let's take a break, and then we'll actually talk about the news of the week. So back after this.
I wanna be on top of the tree. I wanna be on the floor when I fall off the tree.
Okay, we're back already. That was the short one.
Oh, awesome.
With coughs and everything in it, because like, that was just I think Alex made that recording of me in the car once. I don't know. It's many years old at this point. He had this little app that you can record like that and then add various vocal elements and all kinds of things and distort it in various ways. This is the undistorted version. There are some, maybe we'll get one of the distorted versions one time where it's like a robot voice or something. Yeah. That'd be cool, right, Yvonne?
That'd be awesome.
Yes. Okay, so where shall we start, Yvonne? We've had like, stuff, I guess.
The shutdown.
Oh, the shutdown, right. Yes, we did have that. So we are shut down. I mentioned I was worried that would impact my travels, but it did not. What do you got? Like, there seems to be much less concern about this shutdown than the last few times we had shutdown drama.
Let's be clear about this. At this point right now, shutting down the government to me seems it seems like a good idea. Can I be honest? With the federal government that we have, when it seems that for the most part acting against against its citizens and the world, why the fuck do I want it open right now? I mean, how is that helping us in any way, shape, or form?
Well, at least theoretically, there are a lot of services that help people potentially that will go away or be delayed or whatever.
Listen, we're getting paid Social Security, okay? It's not going away. It's not like Medicare and Medicaid benefits right now are being stopped, okay? Now, if you need a new enrollment or you need to change your Social Security or something, yes, that is a problem. But like I said, this government spends every fucking day thinking of ways to fuck us. Every goddamn waking moment, everything that comes out from them is, hey, we figured out a new way to screw you. I mean, literally, Trump posted some AI video showing him as the, whatchamacallit, the Grim Reaper with all his accomplices going after America. What the, I mean, who wants this government open? Me, right now, I am like, fuck this shit. Keep it closed as long as possible so they can stop fucking with us.
Well, I'll say the thing is, though, and this is one of the reasons Schumer didn't allow this to happen back at the beginning of the year, was this offers the opportunity for the Trump administration to effectively change the facts on the ground to permanently shut down even more stuff.
Listen, here's the one thing about this right now.
Anyway.
Exactly. Like what are you talking about? Like what? Like it was stopping them while it was open? They don't care. So look, one thing about this is public opinion is totally running against the Republicans about this. They are not winning. Even though they've tried to messaging war on this.
To be clear, when you look at the polls on this, the biggest category is we blame everybody. Then
no. Biggest category is not sure, which is not blame everybody. They're two very different things. Because you've got a big block of the country that we've discussed this before. Has no clue. So you can't count those people in. The only people you could really look at are the ones that are looking at it and say, hey, who are you blaming? And if you take that group, almost north of 65% blame the Republicans. So I cannot go and think about the fucking people that basically and blissfully have their head in the sand and have no idea what the hell is going on. By the way, and which is by the way quite a large number of people.
So I'm looking for those numbers because I looked at, I remember seeing who the numbers I don't know. Like I thought the numbers for people who had an opinion were actually bigger than I expected, and I remember that.
It
So
was like
let me
in
pull.
the Washington
I'm
Post
pull.
one, it was like 52, 30 something, and
I'm
like
pull.
20 some odd percent had no
I
clue.
no. I'm pulling it up right now. Um, da, 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 da. So they
Da, da, da,
actually
da, da.
uh, interesting. They didn't give an option for both in this poll. I'm looking at the Washington Post poll. The biggest number was 47% Trump. The second
Right.
biggest was 30% Democrats, and then it was 23% not sure. So not sure was
But
actually
you
the
see, here's
smallest.
the thing. But you see, the thing is that when you look at when you take out the not sure, when you look at that group, because that's the group that's actually paying attention.
Well, yeah, but
Okay.
but not sure was actually relatively small. So even without that, it's 50-30. You know, so
No,
uh,
but what I say, it's bad enough either way. But it's worth. But I'm saying the group that's looking at it, the vast majority of it, blames the Republicans.
yes, that's clear regardless. It's almost
Right.
50% even with the not sures in the mix. Um,
Right.
and let's see one more. Let's see. It's the same one. Same one. Washington Post is the only real one. Here we go. Let's see. Did we have? Yeah, like not sure is the middle category. They didn't offer a both, which is interesting. If they had offered a both, I suspect a significant chunk would have gone to both. But okay, we got not. But regardless, they are getting the blame for the moment, which is interesting because if you listen to press reports on this, like I've listened to the TV news talking heads and a few other folks, there was most of the narrative has been around how the Republicans seem to be doing better on messaging. The poll does not match that.
No, it doesn't. But that's, you know what? It's this whole thing, how we live in all these people and that we follow the pundits in the world that they live in, right? Okay. Whereas, oh yeah, they've got the messaging, and even like look, which is why even some of the people that are inside, some people, the Democratic strategists complaining, why are they not only fighting about this and not everything else? And I'm like, Jesus Christ, look, in a world where messaging is so difficult, either you stick doing this very simple and binary, okay? Or it risks being this wonk debate that 90+% of the people don't fucking pay attention
Well,
to
and
because the details
yes,
just get lost.
the and especially here, we're talking a budgetary debate. We're talking about things where some of the issues that people are talking about most are, changing, undoing some changes to the rules about tax credits that happened in the big beautiful bill a few months ago.
Right.
And or rescissions. Like, ask a random person on the street, what the hell is a rescission? Yeah, come on. This is not going to be, and I think this is absolutely one of those cases where, I mean, I looked at the breakdown. I have the breakdown up now. We mentioned the overall numbers. Overall was 47% blame Republicans, 30% blame Democrats, 23% unsure. But if you break it up, among Republicans, 67% Democrat blame the Democrats. Among Democrats, 87% blame the Republicans.
But you see that
You know,
even the Republicans are
are
not,
down
I
a little
mean,
bit, down a
they,
little.
yeah.
But and their number that grows is the not sure really. 8% of Republicans blame Republicans. So that's not bad. But the independent group, though it's 50-22 blaming the Republicans.
So
So
it's overwhelming.
it's overwhelming among the independents. And so
Listen, how can Trump go around and literally proclaim himself dictator? Because in that one video that he showed, he basically was saying how Congress is irrelevant. I rule everything. He said that, right? And so you want to turn around and blame the Democrats for it being shutting down when you are just claiming that you run everything. Dude, okay, decide, okay? Which one are you? Which one are you?
They do this all the time, though. Like, Biden, has lost his mind and is completely ineffective. He's so dangerous. You can't let him be in charge. This sort of dual messaging, where on the one hand something is irrelevant, but on the other hand it's incredibly dangerous, is common.
Right.
No,
I get that, but it's very difficult when you've been hammering to people how you are have control of everything and have everything in the palm of your hand, and then try to claim yourself helpless to the Democrats is very difficult. Once you've been pounding that message for I don't know how long, very difficult to do. Okay.
Well, and so let's move to where we think this is going.
I think we are looking at the longest shutdown we've ever had. Right. I really do at this point.
The record right now was in Trump's first administration. It was 35 days.
This is going to go longer.
Yeah. Right now there's no motion on any side to do anything. Like, everybody's sort of digging in their heels, and a lot of people. And look, there are folks in the Republican coalition who agree with what you said at the beginning. We like it shut down. Let's just leave it. This proves what do we really need and what do we not need. And the president actually has a lot of authority to declare that certain things are needed and have to continue. The counter argument is, do we really want to let Donald Trump be the one deciding that? But as you said, he's been deciding that anyway.
Right.
So, last time, the 35-day, and I was reminded of this. I haven't double checked it. But the 35-day shutdown, if you remember, it ended when the Democrats retook the House. Like, it was right at the end of the term. So the stalemate did not resolve itself by the two sides coming to a better deal or whatever.
Agreement.
There was actually a change in power that enabled them to do something that they would not do earlier. Now, at this point, we're a year and a quarter.
That election's a year away.
Yeah. We're more than a year away from the election, and add a couple months before they actually take
Listen,
power.
but this is one thing where critical services are continuing, but problems will pile up. Look, I realize that a lot of things are going to pile up. Like, as I mentioned, for example, hey, if you just turn 65, you want to apply for Social Security, that gets problematic right now. You can't go to an office. You can't make changes. You can't get somebody died. You can't register that. They're talking about flood insurance, for example, how right now you can't obtain it. You can't get it. It complicates so many different things and processes. I think you can't even apply for passports right now, for example. You can't even get passports. There are so many things that start getting complicated they start piling up. At some point, I'm assuming something's going to happen, because here's the thing. I don't think that a large group of Republicans really wanted to take away health care from a large part of their constituents either. They're just right now being jerk-offs.
Or triple the prices and things like that are happening in terms of...
Exactly. They didn't really want this, okay? Yeah, they didn't want this, okay? So I think that right now, and pardon me one second, but I'm having a technical difficulty over here. Right now, they're being stubborn just to show spine, but at some point, they're going to want to do something too, because they don't want to fuck. They don't want to fuck their constituents that badly, as much as they try to sometimes, but they don't want to do it so evidently.
They still don't want to cross Donald Trump. Like, nobody wants to be the first one to cross Donald Trump, right? And
right.
Now, even as is, like we had a couple Democrats in the Senate crossover, Fetterman, and I forget who the other one was. But
Look, I don't know what the hell. But listen, I don't want to count like anything about what the hell's going on in Fetterman's brain at this moment, given
Mhm.
everything we've heard around his staff, how he seems to be basically losing his marbles. Okay, so I don't know. I discount that. Other people, I'll consider, but I don't consider like saying, oh well, Fetterman decided to do this as something indicative of anything at this point.
Right. So I'm just checking. The Democrats that voted for it were John Fetterman, Catherine Cortez
Angus King,
Masto from Nevada, and Angus King, who's technically an independent but who caucuses with the Democrat. Those were the three.
right? That's it. Yeah.
And so you need a few more like to reach the threshold. So
You need
I
quite a
don't
few more. Yeah.
like
Like
three.
four,
What's
five,
four, five? Yeah, somewhere around that
4 or 5.
ballpark. You need 60 votes. So and so you already have 3 Republicans plus those 3. That's 6. You need 4 more. You need 4 more. But I don't know. I don't know who's going to get weak in the knees first. I think it depends a lot on the specifics of like what pain does end up accumulating in the way you've mentioned, and who is most sensitive to that pain, what states is it affecting,
Right.
all that kind of stuff. You also honestly have to not discount the possibility at this point of Donald Trump just reopening whatever he feels like, regardless of the rules. Say, oh, this particular thing is causing pain. Okay, executive order reopening that, and essentially leaving it officially shut down indefinitely, but turning things on one by one as they feel like they cause pain to the Republicans. You know,
But you know, I mean, that is obviously a possibility, and given where SCOTUS is right now, that basically has decided that we are a monarchy at this point. I'm like, I'm not, I'm not holding my breath about them, doing anything to push back on this administration.
right? And so, um, yeah. So if I had to bet, I think you're right. This probably will go past 35 days, and I don't know. Like, I would not be surprised by any of the 3 options we talked about. You know, Democrats capitulating, Republicans capitulating, Donald Trump just pushing through and not giving a damn about it at all. You know, any one of those
Or
3
just Donald
options
Trump
come up.
changing his mind, which
Yeah,
has happened before. And right away, he's changed his mind and all of a sudden made it sold everybody like he made a great deal and like convinced everybody that it was like he was right. This is what he wanted all along.
oh yes. And yes. Now that you mention it, I mean, I would have fit that into the Republicans capitulate category. But you're absolutely
No,
right.
this is
That
not
if
capitulating. This is him saying, I made a great deal and it's like what I wanted all along. And,
yes,
finally I got the Democrats to do what I wanted. And so therefore, here we have this great deal, even though what he's doing is just what the Democrats wanted. And he will sell it like it was his deal.
yes, this is his genius. I mean, in so many ways he's a moron, but this is his genius. Like
That is his superpower. Yes, that is totally his absolute superpower and genius. That he will completely change his mind on something and then tell everybody it was his idea and then convince everybody it's such a great deal that he negotiated. Yes.
yes, even though he's actually just giving the other side
Diametrically,
yeah.
yes. Taking the complete other side of what he wanted like 30 days before.
Well,
yes.
this ties into the stuff we've talked about happening again and again on tariffs, with other countries promising to do what they already did and getting credit for it as the massive new deal that was Donald Trump forced through because of the tariffs.
That's right.
Okay.
You forgot that scenario, huh?
I mean, well, like I said, I was counting it as Republicans capitulate, but it's not. But it gets spun in a way that's not. Well, it is, but it's not.
It is, but it isn't. Because if you make everybody else believe, and if your people believe that you made a deal and it's not seen, one scenario is the other guy's capitulated and everybody sees you're a loser. The other one is you make it seem like you won even though you lost, and all your constituents believe you won.
Well, yeah, this is. I mean, I'm having flashbacks to the Mueller report: no obstruction, no collusion. You know,
exactly.
That's what Barr said. Like, and for like the 2 weeks before he released the actual report. So that's what stuck in everybody's head: no obstruction, no collusion.
That's right.
Even though the actual report showed lots of obstruction and lots of collusion.
Exactly right.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I came in last place. I won! I won! You walk up to the podium. By the way, Donald Trump has done this kind of like literally even before he was president, okay? I mean, where he actually David Tepper, I think, is the one that said this, that he showed up to fundraising events, okay, to charitable events where he had not donated a single dime.
Yeah.
And he showed up there like he was some major contributor that helped get this thing over the top, blah, 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 showed up there, whatever, and he had not given a dime!
Right. Okay. Let's take a break. And when we come back, I'll pick the topic for the rest of the time. And I will start with the speech from the generals and then move on to sort of going along with what we've just been talking about, sort of Donald Trump's mental state and stuff. Yeah. Anyway.
Fuck the speech to the generals.
Yes. Okay, here we go. We'll be back after this.
AlexandZoe.com. Bang Alex and Dad. Gaming videos and more from Alex. Elementary school by day. YouTube by night. AlexandZoe.com. Alexandzoe is ALEXMXELA, and .com is period and then COM.
He just posted a new video like a few weeks ago, by the way. Like he's only posting like a few a year now, and there's still ones that he originally recorded when he was 7 years old. He's now 16, by the way. But yeah, there's a new video out. So check it out.
Hey, Sam, before we go into the speech to the generals, just a brief mention.
Yes, brief.
What about that coin, huh?
Oh, yes. Well, you know, when they first mentioned the coin with Donald Trump's name on it, I got excited for a second because maybe it was minting the coin.
Oh, the super coin.
The super coin. And, you know, I would almost accept a Donald Trump coin if they actually did the super coin idea, because, like, it's just so disruptive and cool an idea. But, you know, no, it's a $1 commemorative coin, apparently.
So I did read, and apparently the law is that you can't have a coin of somebody leader unless they are dead.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so here's the deal I'm willing.
That has been the law for like 140 years or something.
So here's the deal I propose. I'm good with the coin if you're promising me that he's going to die like tonight or something. We can go ahead with. Listen, if you promise me that he's going to be dead by Monday, go ahead, make the coin. No problem. Make the coin. I'm good. Yeah. That's a trade I'm willing to make right now. Yes.
Yeah. So, but like, honestly, just talking about that.
Dead by natural causes, by the way. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Yes, clarifying.
Yeah.
You know, he has a heart attack or something. I mean, that the cholesterol can't be helped. You know, those kind of things.
You are not calling for anything that would necessitate a Secret Service visit.
No. I'm just, you know, just, you know, if that, I mean, they're playing to mint the coin because they think I'm thinking, hey, they're minting the coin because they think he's going to be dead soon. He's seriously ill. We don't know. That's why they're planning for the coin, Sam. That's the new speculation, since apparently he's not posting. I heard again that he's been like a little bit like on the quiet side.
Again. Yeah. We'll get to that in a second. But yeah, no.
He's getting one of those, like, you remember the artificial heart guy, the
Yes.
many, it was his name, but he's getting an artificial
Dick
heart.
Cheney. You mean Dick Cheney?
Well, Dick Cheney got one, right? Yeah.
Well, he didn't get an artificial heart, but he had like a.
He got this ventricular assist thing, whatever it's called. Yeah. It's basically an artificial heart, basically, because it's doing most of the work.
Anyway, just to finish up the coin thing, it is absolutely true that there is a law that says you cannot have a living person on a coin, and they are apparently 90% of the way through the planning process to release a coin with Donald Trump's face on it. Absent your scenario, this is a clear violation of the law, but so is 80% of the stuff the Trump administration has been doing, and no one. It's just it is what it is, because like the mechanisms aren't in place to effectively actually stop a rogue president who just says, I don't give a fuck, I'm going to do what I want to do, which is unfortunate. Or at least I shouldn't say the mechanisms don't exist. The mechanisms
exist, but nobody wants to use them. The Republicans control Congress, and they basically have said, he can be lawless. We're good.
And you've got a Supreme Court that is very sympathetic to the idea that the president can do anything they want. And so
you've got the three branches, the two branches that are supposed to do oversight, basically abdicating their role.
I mean, the lower courts have been repeatedly, going against Donald Trump over and over and over again on many issues. But there's just no level of confidence that when it finally gets to SCOTUS won't just say, okay, fine, you can do that.
Yeah, he can do whatever you want.
And Donald Trump has taken the position that until SCOTUS says no, he's pretty much going to keep going.
Yeah.
And honestly, we still have that question. If SCOTUS absolutely says no to something that he cares about, what happens? I mean, we actually had that example from the Garcia in El Salvador. So the Supreme Court actually told him, get him home right away. And he delayed it, but he finally did it. Is the thing that even though he dragged his feet, they wound up doing it. So yes, although. Yeah, there's still issues.
They did drag their feet, but they wound. Yeah, but they did drag their feet, but they wound up doing it.
So far, when push has come to shove, in the end, Donald Trump and his administration have always backed down from the ultimate confrontations. And not only that, like we've talked about Taco with the tariffs. Whenever something seems to be getting unpopular, he has backed off as well. Yeah. Because in the end, he wants to be loved and he wants people to be like excited about it. It seems his people hide a lot of things from him. But when apparently,
did the generals laugh and love him when he was given the speech?
Yeah, let's move on to the generals.
Did they love? Okay, so my key question: did the generals clap and love when he was given the speech?
Well, first of all, let's just level set this with the protocol that generals and other military folks are supposed to follow anyway, is that they are non-political, and so they shouldn't clap.
No, I know, but I guess he was expecting, expecting that, right?
He specifically said at the beginning, I know you're not supposed to, but feel free to clap if you want to, and stuff like that. And no, nobody clapped. Nobody clapped. Nobody hooted and hollered. He was giving, and this is both Hegseth and Trump were hoping for some positive reactions. They got the generals and admirals basically sitting on their hands, and
which is what they should be doing. Which I'm proud of them for doing so.
Which is what they should be doing. And just to be clear, first of all, this type of audience, like bring in all the generals that exist into one room, has not happened before.
Doesn't happen.
But speaking more generally in front of military audiences, the military audiences can get animated and hoop and holler and stuff when presidents give speeches, and the speeches are wholeheartedly like, hey, we're going to support the troops.
Patriotic.
We're doing a good effort. America is great, blah, blah, blah. It's things that are somewhat universal, where they're just, they're visiting troops in Afghanistan and they're talking about supporting the effort and how important the work they do is and stuff like that. Okay, in those cases, the military is fully allowed to like clap and express appreciation, all of that kind of stuff. But what Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth are doing here are, and they really were two different. I don't want to lump them in together because they had different purposes and were doing different things. But they're fundamentally, especially the Donald Trump speech, it's like 100. Well, especially they were both. They were both 100% political issues that are controversial in politics today, pushing their view, talking about Democrats evil, et cetera, et cetera. This is exactly the kind of thing where protocol says the military should sit on their hands, and they did. And a lot of the, it took a few hours for the feedback to start coming in, sort of anonymous generals talking to reporters and such. The feedback is universally that, like, the vast majority of people in that audience were disturbed by the speeches and upset by the speeches, not support. I mean, obviously there's some proportion that would be supportive, but the vast majority were not. They were upset by this. They were like, this is not the kinds of conversations we should be having. They didn't like being lectured by Hegseth on what it means to be a warrior. The feedback on Donald Trump was things like, after the first 5 minutes, I stopped taking notes because it was just incoherent and rambling, and it made no sense.
Standard Trump speech.
The Hegseth stuff was all anti-woke, anti-trans, anti-woman. Like, we don't, we want to restore at pro-war crimes, I guess. Like,
pro-war crimes. Yeah, that was very clear. Yes.
Yeah, it's like, we don't want any of these rules that tell you how to behave. We just want you to kill people and break things.
Hegseth is deranged. I've never heard anybody in military leadership as an adult as I remember, talk to generals like this.
Yeah, and even like if you actually hear actual military people talking about their jobs, like, they don't, with very few exceptions that probably should be run out on a rail, they don't talk about the kill people and break things with pride. They recognize that it's part of their profession as a necessity, but but it's all about professionalism and being able to do what's necessary and not what's more than necessary. And we want to use our power to achieve the political goals, but we want to do so carefully. They really care about things like rules of engagement and trying to avoid the civilian casualties when possible. Now, they could be a lot more careful than they are. There have been a lot of unnecessary deaths in U.S. military engagements. I mean, we don't quite reach Israeli levels, but
the one thing is that the primary mission is and I see this in a lot of places is defending the country.
Well, and very specifically,
that's the primary mission.
I've seen a number of retired folks commenting, the oath is to support the Constitution.
The Constitution, exactly.
And these fucking jokers are undermining it.
Right.
And so they are not happy about this. I've even started to see some things on TikTok about, like, military folks starting to talk about the possibility of a military coup at some point. Now, I think this is not a likely scenario, but even the fact that you've got a few people sort of starting to murmur about those kinds of options indicate how much these people actually feel disrespected by this nonsense.
These
Rather,
guys, I mean, that's the thing. This entire, I think that's the key thing. That whole event was totally disrespectful to the entire military leadership of the United States. That's
yes.
the one thing that it was.
Everything from the call everybody in for something that could have been a memo to the things you're actually saying. I mean, and the fact that part of Donald Trump's speech involved, and prepare to use the American cities as training grounds. We're gonna, be prepared for that. And if you don't like
Like,
it, resign
what?
now. And this is, like I said, the culture in the military for many, many decades now is we are a professional organization. We live by standards. We're not just thugs that go out and kill people. Yes, of course, it's the military. They kill people. They break things. Yes, that's part of what they do. But the whole ethos is around service and professionalism and doing things by the rules and all of this kind of stuff, and honor. And this is not respecting any of that.
No.
And part of it, of course, is like, Trump and Hegseth don't actually think any of what I just mentioned is valuable at all.
By the way, and I'm pretty confident that most of those guys that got to be general had zero respect for, even though Hegseth was in the military. I wasn't sure he was. I read his record.
Checked, yeah.
Military. He was in the military, but he wasn't exactly. He didn't really make it that far, and it's something that I read some people mentioning. This is how far a mediocre guy gets in the military. That was the thinking that I heard around some people. And so these guys, knowing when that's the mindset of these guys, and they realize that they got the mediocre guy who you basically like, the reason he's not there is because he was mediocre and now is the head of them. I know that I've been in those kind of situations in corporate when that happens. Let me tell you something. The rest of the people that were there looking at this guy, they're all like, this fucking loser.
Well, and this is a different scenario, by the way, than a civilian who's never been in the military at all, but has other
Exactly. Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, this is worse.
This is way worse.
And he's coming in and lecturing them, and he's, and a lot
when they know he was mediocre.
And a lot of these things, like the administration has been so hostile to like women in the military at all, for instance, let alone trans people, that they've been absolutely hostile to, but women more generally.
Oh my God.
And look, there's still, the military hadn't fully succeeded in transforming to be fully open to women in all places anyway, but it's moved on quite a bit from where it was 20, 25 years ago. Like there were women in significant command positions. There are women in various combat positions celebrated. The culture has moved on. The culture, it's certainly not perfect, but they're trying to drag it back 40 years. And with all of the, or more, and with all of this kind of stuff, when you don't, let's say you did legitimately want to change the culture. This is not the way you do it successfully.
No, not at all.
I mean, just like we're talking about, first the military integrated, not non-white people into the military. Then they started accepting women in non-combat roles, and eventually some combat roles, and trans people more recently, and gay people more recently, this has happened over the course of quite a few years, and it's it hasn't been easy. The cultural change has been slow, and it is imperfect, and it hadn't finished yet. But it had gotten to the point where you can't just snap your fingers and undo it. And what they're doing, I mean, on the one hand, I hate what they're trying to do, but at the same time, I'm glad they're as bad at it as they are. Because it makes it more likely that it will be easier to reverse some of this stuff once they're gone. So I don't know. I have some more to talk about Donald Trump specifically. Any more about these speeches before I move on?
No.
Okay. So
can I say one thing?
Yeah, go
Wait.
ahead.
Okay.
Yes. Go ahead.
Let's just, you're going to talk about Donald Trump, you said?
Yeah.
Oh, can I, my regular reminder, fuck Donald Trump.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that was clear in the program. I don't want to forget to people,
Of course not. No, can't forget that. No, so look, we've talked about Trump's health before. We've talked about Trump's mental health before. I think it's time to do so again. I mentioned how generals were off the record quoted as saying they stopped taking notes because it made no sense and it was just rambling and going nowhere. If you listened to Donald Trump's speech here, and I did not listen to a lot of it, I listened to clips here and there.
I listened to none of it. I just read what it is. I like I said before, I have a visceral
reaction
problem with hearing his voice.
Yes.
And I want to fucking throw shit at it or something. So I have to turn it off.
So let me start with, first of all, yes, it was rambling and incoherent. He's often rambling and incoherent, but it does seem like it's getting worse. But also, he just physically sounded like shit again. Like, you remember a few weeks ago, we were all talking about, oh, he's been missing for a week. Where'd he go? Blah, blah, blah. Something clearly happened. And then he showed up again. And fine. But he once again sounds like shit. Like he was very, very low energy. His voice was a monotone most of the time. It was somewhat gravelly. He did not sound well. And so the speculation's not going to go away. I mean, I still think more so than anything else, if something really acute happens, I still believe we will hear about that relatively quickly. If something
no way. They will hide it as much as possible.
They will absolutely hide as much as possible. But what I mean by something really acute is if it's serious enough, he has to get rushed to the hospital. We will know about that. They will not be able to hide it. Absent that,
I think. I mean, listen. I think that they are geared up to even hide that, because if listen, I think the speculation is that last time he had to have some kind of procedure, which is why he was
but
really.
They might have been able to do it at the White House.
Yeah, but I think that they bulked up what they could do at the White House precisely so they can hide whatever the fuck is going on with this guy.
Maybe.
So even if he has something major, that they could do it and hide it as much as possible. I've never seen a president, listen, we've had presidents where the health condition or whatever, they tried to hide it. Sam, this guy's been wearing makeup to hide shit, okay?
Well, he's been wearing makeup for decades, but yes.
No, but he's been wearing makeup to also hide now,
yes, when he put the stuff on his hands and things like that.
Yeah, he's been hiding medical, things that are actual physical ailments. Not just, he was wearing makeup because he likes to look orange for some fucking reason. I'm talking about wearing makeup in order to hide signs of some physical issues. Okay.
So what I was saying though is I think I hear what you're saying. I still think if there was something really acute, they would be incapable of hiding it for very long. But I think what we're seeing is just regular, gradual decline associated with aging, both on his mental state and on his physical state. And it's not a dramatic, like one day he's like this, the next day he's so much worse, but it's just gradual decline, and he's got better days and he's got worse days, and and that's going to continue to happen. But I also feel like I think we're seeing increasing evidence of him being significantly checked out a lot of the time, in terms of, like, look, you talked about him posting the Grim Reaper meme. A few days earlier, he posted this medbed thing.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So for those who don't know or didn't follow this, first of all, I didn't know this, but apparently this is an ongoing conspiracy theory on the right, that the government secretly has developed med beds using alien technology over the last couple of decades. And these are basically beds that you can put a person in, and they will heal everything. They will, like,
Okay,
any
by the way,
ailment
this
may have.
is okay. As far as I can tell, these people watched the movie Elysium too many times, and you need to add that to your list if it's not on there.
I'm gonna.
Okay, all right.
Elysium.
This seems to be Elysium. To give you the gist, the main thing is a movie in a future where Earth is like so contaminated that people are living on space stations, and like the president and like all those people are living there, and the space stations have these med beds where people can get instantly healed of any condition, but only the elite people, the chosen people. The beds actually DNA scan you, and so they won't give you, if you're not a citizen, they won't give you the healing stuff. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Yes.
So I think these assholes basically watched that movie too many times.
So yes, the idea is it can heal anything, like from you've got a cold to
cancer.
Cancer. Somebody chopped off your arm, it will regrow it, and even and even de-aging. Like, oh, you don't like being in your 50s anymore? Okay, try out your 20s again. Whatever. But and part of the conspiracy, of course, is the government has this but is hiding it from people. So Donald Trump posted an AI-generated fake newscast of somebody talking about the new initiative that Donald Trump was announcing that included video of a fake Donald Trump talking about how they were starting to roll out the MedBed program, and it would be available to people, and it wasn't going to be available to everybody all at once, but they were going to, there's a sign up and there's a way and blah, blah, blah. And he just posted it. Like, it's like, okay. And the question is, did he see this online and just think, oh, this is cool? And it's like, oh, I don't remember announcing this, but okay, I guess I did. Repost. or what? And they did take it down a few hours later. Like, it was taken down.
Oh, they did take it down.
Which is apparently relatively rare for Donald Trump to take down his social media posts, but they did remove this one after a little while. And just generally speaking, I mean, his unhinged things that he posts on Truth Social seemingly get more unhinged and more unrelated to reality.
Yeah, they're all nuts.
Which is hard because they were already bad.
Right, but it is escalated in insanity. I mean, it's like, I am like right now, I realize that I was so busy the last few days that I stopped really reading a lot of media because unfortunately, because how much actually I was busy and I was having a good time because by the way, I realized that my favorite part of this job is actually visiting customers. Okay. I've known that before. And I'm like, damn it. I'm like over there. Honestly, I was having a great time. So I wasn't reading any of this. And all of a sudden, after I got busy late yesterday, I started catching up on some of this shit and I opened it. And I'm like looking at some of these posts and some of the posts that he was posting. I don't know, a few of the more, another unhinged stuff. And I'm like, what in fuck fucking hell. And they are worse.
Yes, and I think there's a lot of, well, here's the one quote from a couple days ago, and of course you'll say like it was a mistake, whatever. But Representative Dean from Pennsylvania confronted Speaker Johnson, in the hallways at the Capitol, and this got caught on camera. And she started out by saying, "The president is unhinged. He is unwell," and he's pleading for Johnson to like do something about this. Johnson's answer, his immediate answer before he moved on to other things, was, "A lot of folks on your side are too."
R2.
And yes, look, I mean, some people have started talking about like Pritzker's calling for the 25th Amendment. Of course, no one's going to listen to Pritzker, right? This is like the 25th Amendment has to be the vice president and a majority of the cabinet. And by the way, even after they declare it, the president just has to submit a letter to Congress. The president has, if the president submits a letter to Congress saying, "No, never mind, I'm fine," then Congress has to weigh in, and it has to be a 2/3 majority. So like the 25th Amendment is really, really hard,
I mean, it's basically about as hard, close to as hard as impeachment, basically.
Yeah, and basically, like, if the president himself disagrees, it's impossible. Like, for all intents and purposes, it's impossible. Like, it's a workable mechanism if the president is in a coma, okay?
Right.
But if the president is around and disagrees and doesn't think or if the president agrees, like, we've had a number of occasions now where the president's going into surgery and they sign a letter themselves invoking the 25th to hand over power while they're in surgery, that kind of thing. But it is not a workable mechanism in a situation where the president actively does not agree with being removed. It just isn't. So anybody talking about
it
that,
is if Congress, and it's evident to everybody, and they all agree.
But
if everybody agrees, but given the current state of affairs,
I have heard some conspiracy theory folks say, well, this is the plan all along, is to get Vance to take over. And so, of course, they're going to pull the trigger at some point. I don't buy it. Like, if the opportunity arises, do I think Vance would, grab it?
Oh, Vance is a grifter, of course. I mean, if the opportunity arises, say, like you said, if he's in a coma, fuck, man, Vance is getting that shit signed like yesterday. Okay,
right. But yeah, no, I think a far more likely scenario is like what you were. They'll hide it. They'll hide it. I mean, they'll trot him out when they need to, and the rest of the government will work around him. I think we've got increasing evidence at this point that that's what's happening anyway, that he's not really engaged, except every once in a while on an issue that he really wants to be. I mean, hell, to some degree, this was true even in his first term, but I think it's much more so true now. There are a couple of issues where he's engaged and cares, but for everything else, the people around him are running things, and depending on the subject matter, it's a different person. Like on anything immigration, it's Miller, and there may be other people in other areas, whatever. But he's basically, they're deciding on the policy. They're deciding what to do. One of the things that was reported out of the meeting that he had with the Democratic leaders over the shutdown last week was that they went to him and were like, look, there are all these things that are going to happen with healthcare. The people's premiums are going to go up. People are going to be kicked off. It's, result of the big, beautiful bill. And we want to make sure that doesn't happen. And then apparently his response was, I've never heard any of that. That can't be true. That's whatever. And also, by the way, I think this happened after our last show. When he was sending troops into Portland, and he finally talked, he talked on the phone
Oh,
to
yeah.
the governor of Oregon, and the governor of Oregon was like, Portland's not like that. There's nothing going on. We don't need you. And he's like, but I saw it on TV. And she's like, but that it's not that's old stuff, whatever. And he's like, are you telling me that what I see on TV isn't true?
Oh, fuck this guy. I swear to God. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Fucking God. I'm like that general that they saw that put his hands in his face, which I think, basically just channeled all of us.
I mean, because it seems clear, like the Portland thing. There's been other reporting as well.
There's nothing going on in Portland. What the fuck is going on?
The reporting on that seems to be that what actually happened is there was no long-term planning on this. Nobody on his team expected it. He saw a report on Fox News where they mixed in coverage from the year 2000.
The thing that what happened years ago. Yeah. In 2000.
Which, by the way, even in 2000, it was one event that happened on one block, one time.
And one block,
burnt a car or something.
Right.
And,
yes.
And so he saw that footage, and then the next morning he started tweeting out or truth socialing out, we're going into Portland with everything. And then after that, his team scrambled to figure out how to actually do it. Now, there's some reports that some of that planning with the team that did not end up happening was they were going to send in the 82nd Airborne. They were like not just like National Guard. They were going to send in like elite troops and all this kind of stuff. And, they didn't end up doing it.
Oh, your microphone fell. There we go. Sorry. Yeah, there we go. Well, I do need to wrap it up. I'm feeling a little bit.
Yeah,
I've been here sitting for a while.
I need to go too because my sister is like, where are you?
Okay.
Okay.
So all right.
Yeah,
so let's wrap this up.
Let's wrap
okay.
This up.
Donald Trump is a psychopath. Yes. Bottom line. Yes. There's after careful analysis of all the information that we've got, Donald Trump is a deluded psychopath. Okay.
Well,
there you go.
And I think specifically, he's had serious mental health issues basically his entire life, but now
they are getting so much worse.
They are getting aggravated by age
and stress.
And stress. Yeah. So, okay. With that, let's wrap it up. The usual, go to curmudgeons-corner.com and see all our stuff. You can see our archives. You can see all the ways to contact us. Transcripts of shows. All kinds of cool stuff. I still have not added the link to TikTok there. So if you want to see TikTok, go there. The most recent thing on there, I need to post more. I'm still way behind. I'm like a month behind. The most recent thing on TikTok is the clip of me talking about the trip I took where, I went on a carnival ride with a date and threw up, and the people below us were screaming in horror as the vomit rained down from above on their heads.
We are so good at setting up Sam on a date. I contributed to setting up Sam on that date, and let's just say that I think it went quite well. Honestly, it did actually. Even with it was. Listen, we've had 30. We had 30 years of stories out of this. Yes, I would say that I proclaim it a success in the end. Even let's see, it was the vomiting, the horse thing at the horse allergies at the ER. I mean, there was some action going on, enjoyable for Sam. Everything included all in one event, and I'm like, damn it, yes.
Yeah. So anyway, that's the last thing on the TikTok. It is a clip from the show from about a month ago. Anyway, that is that. Importantly, there's a link to our Patreon where you can give us money at various levels. We will mention you on the show. We will ring a bell. We will send you a postcard. We will send you a mug, all that kind of stuff. Or at $2 a month or more, or if you just ask us, we will invite you to Curmudgeon's Corner Slack, where Yvonne and I and a bunch of listeners are chatting throughout the week. So Yvonne,
Right.
I caught him by surprise. I caught him by surprise.
Filibuster.
We need a something we shared on the Curmudgeon's Corner Slack and talked about that was so exciting and so interesting that it will compel people to immediately want to join our Slack and get in touch with us to make that happen. So have I filibustered long enough, Yvonne? No.
Oh, yes. Okay. All right. Story this week on the random.
Yes.
QAnon shaman says he's rightful president, sues Trump for $40 trillion. Okay. In a rambling complaint. Yes, of course. In a rambling complaint, Jacob Chansley claims DJs are spies and the NSA stole his work for a Batman movie and more. I mean, Damn it. This is so fitting to 2025. And he sued him for $40 trillion.
40 trillion. Yep.
Yes. Get on collecting that moment right away, buddy. There you go.
And now that the med beds are out, he'll be able to enjoy this 40 trillion over many years.
Forever.
Yeah.
Forever. There you go.
Okay. With that, let's wrap it up. Thanks everybody for joining us. Stay safe. Have a good week, and we will see you again next time. I will be hopefully back in the Seattle area, and Yvonne will hopefully continue to be well enough to participate.
Yes, I hope so.
Okay. Thanks everybody. Here comes the music. Goodbye.
Bye.
Okay, hitting stop. See you later, Yvonne. Feel better. Rest.
Thank you. Okay.